Dear ladies and gentlemen, dear audience and speakers, I'm very glad to welcome all of you at this StrategEast.Live panel discussion today. My name is Stanislav Kovalchuk, and I am project manager of StrategEast Center for New Economy. And today I will moderate our online discussion dedicated to development of IT journalism in Eurasia. Year by year, we see significant growth of IT sector in Eurasian countries. More people begin their careers in IT, more people start investing in technologies, and more people start to get interested in how this huge and complex market works and how to get started in it and just what is new in this marvelous tech world. And today we will talk with people who in their work daily answer these difficult questions. So let me introduce our distinguished speakers. Vera, Chernysh, CEO and managing editor of 3 top IT media in Ukraine, MC.today, ITC.UA, and Highload. Hello, Vera. Artiom Kontsevoi, CEO of dev.media, media company focused on tech industry in Eastern Europe, especially in Ukraine and Belarus. Hello, Artiom.
Hello.
And Tagai, Tazabekov, founder and CEO of Limon media about the self-made success of young people in the field of IT and tech startups from the region of Central Asia. Hello, Tagai.
Hi.
Thank you very much for joining us. And I would like to start with a question to Artiom Kontsevoi. Artiom, from your point of view, what is the role of media in the development of IT ecosystem in Eurasian countries, especially in Eastern Europe, and how the media influence the digital ecosystem? You're welcome.
Yeah, thank you. Just like I'm afraid to say some obvious things, but I think that the role of tech media is much more significant than in like more developed part of the world, because technology sector is something that is not very new, but quite new for the society, and so it's young and it's developing rapidly, and media helps to encourage to move this development in right direction, to promote the sector within the society with other groups, to encourage people to switch to IT, because maybe like the common and the most the greatest problem for our countries is that the lack of human force. And we're like, we're not India, we're not China, we can't compete with scale, so we have to compete with our brains, with our attitude. So I think media can play like quite positive role in that.
Thank you very much. And I want to forward this question to our next speakers, to Vera. Vera, your comments, what do you think about the role of media? It's necessary part of digital ecosystem, how it's important in building digital ecosystem. Yeah, thank you.
I think media is not the reason for the digital ecosystem to exist and flourish, but one of the things that that happens when the digital ecosystem exists and flourishes, when there is a market. For example, I have some friends in Kazakhstan who read our media. So we visited Kazakhstan this spring. And we were surprised that lots of local startup guys and girls were reading our media and knew our media, though we don't write about Kazakhstan at all. We are really Ukrainian centered, but they have nothing to read. In Kazakhstan, they don't have any local tech media, so that's why they are in search of good content and they read us. And we even had some idea, oh, let's launch media in Kazakhstan, there is money here, there are people who want to read us, but when we dive deeper in the market, they only have like, I don't remember exact figures, but around 15,000 developers, and most of the IT sector is government. So basically, there is no market for media. I don't see how we can make money there, because in Ukraine we make money selling advertising to tech companies. There are no tech companies there, so it's logical that there is no tech media there. So in my opinion, the market comes first, media comes second, but of course media then helps markets to grow, because it's like a platform to show what's going on, to inspire, to encourage people to do some things. So it's like I have said, like, we show what's going on with your neighbor next door. So if you see that your neighbor next door does something cool, you want to do something cool too, and that's how we help the market grow.
Thank you. I'll ask my questions a little bit later. It will be now first questions to start our discussion, but main questions will be later. And my first question to Tagai. Tagai, please tell us about your experience and your view on the role of tech media in Central Asia, in Kyrgyzstan. Please, the floor is yours. Tagai, your microphone is off. Please turn on it.
How now? Now it's okay?
Yes, yes.
Okay. What about media, tech media in Central Asia? Yes. Okay. The role of media in our country, I think it is very large. I agree with both speakers, with Artiom and Vera. With Artiom that in our country we must encourage people to go in IT. For example, I don't know what is the situation in eastern part of former USSR, but I know that in our country we have our own way, because first of all, you must understand that our country is very small. It is very small, and it is poor. We have population of 6.5 million people, and 20% of them, almost 1 million, make common labor in Russia. Understand? So that is why when we started our journey to IT journalists, IT media, we understood that as Vera told, we have very small IT community. So that is therefore we had very small audience to sell advertising. That is why so we understood it, but we have make one decision. We started from we've made this community, and this IT community, as you understand, it is very close. It's like it's not very friendly to other people. So we started to create our own community, and to make it, we started from some facts. At the beginning, we knew that as internet media, we compete globally. It means when a person looks for any kind of information on internet, he preferably uses Google and some interesting stories, like Vera told about Kazakhstan users. Yes, they just put in Google some about startup, and they found any interesting stories. So to survive, we must have content different from Google and interesting enough to use our website or our social media. Secondly, we didn't have enough knowledge about tech issues in the country, so we couldn't be like experts. And at the same, and finally, the tech audience was not enough to make a profitable media. At the same time, our core value of our media and main mission was progress of our country, to make our country rich. So, and we understood that there couldn't be any progress without IT sector. So at intersections of these facts, we have decided to talk not about IT, but talk about success. So our country is poor, as I told, and we have so people are very hungry for success. They are ready to work hard for success. Therefore, we began to show our readers our success stories that is possible for Kyrgyz young people to work at Google and Facebook. So, and the ticket in this area is much higher than in like waiter or taxi driver. It was like for our readers, it was like fairy tale come true. It's like Cinderella, you know, when from very dirty work you become very rich man. For our people at that moment, several years ago, it was like to have an average ticket in Google. It was like you you can make everything in our country, you know, and that is why a lot of our readers followed our stories. And a couple years later, we started until now, we continue to receive a bunch of feedback when Kyrgyz people from Apple or Palantir working in these great companies, they say thanks to us. They say that our stories gave them confidence, and if it's like if one from your country can make it, you also can make it. It's like this effect. And now almost any young person in our country is thinking about IT or near IT. According to local IT schools, the demand for their courses has become several times higher for the last several years. But there is another problem. Most of them don't have enough knowledge of basic computer skills, but it is another story. So later, the audience grew, its interests are changing, and their demand for information started to change. And it made our focus broader. Now we are writing not about only the stories, but also about startups, and the community is growing. So we believe that without us in this and other IT visionaries in IT industry, like in our association, which you have met on your event, like association of soft, I don't know how it's in English, organization, association of developers. So there are great visionaries, and they all of them say thank to us because we made it popular. That is why I believe that the role of media is very huge in such poor countries as ours. So maybe we are not technical media as TechCrunch, for example. But in some way we are becoming technical. So that's it.
Yeah, thank you very much, Tagai. And you mentioned such good points that you build your way from media, to IT media. And I want to ask another speakers why they decide to become tech journalists and create their own media. And I want to forward word to Artiom. Artiom, I know you was a software developer, and why you decided to become tech journalist. And my second question in this block, What are the skills and basic knowledges one must have to become a professional in tech journalist? It's important background in IT or more important background in journalistic? Please, floor is yours.
Thanks. I've never been a software developer, unfortunately. I work in IT, like firstly as marketing manager, then product manager or project manager, and I have a background in physics, like by education. So I don't have this kind of background, and but I like work in this sphere for a pretty long time, and I have some opinion. First, I think that when we like talk about IT media, about like tech media, we should like agree what we understand by that. Because if we talk like about some business media focused on venture industry, like TechCrunch, it's one. If we're like talking about like some success inspirations stories, it's another type of media. If we're talking about some technical media, how to like what's new in Python or something like that, it's sort kind of media. If you, it also can be like some like popular science media, something like that. So it's it really depends, and I think it's having this strong technical background is essential only for when you do like something like technical media. In all other cases, it's not necessary. Maybe it's paradoxically it can be even harmful because usually, like in my experience, people who are good like in writing, expressing their thoughts, they are not like good in coding, and vice versa. So it's maybe it's of course there are like another example, but as a common rule, I think that's true. And also, if your media is like too technical, it can't be popular. So it's kind of like trade-off. And what is the goal of your media? Like, how many readers do you want? And so that's another problem. And the third problem is that people who work like in tech industry in our countries, they can use English, like especially like in their professional sphere, in their field, so they can consume all this technical information from the global media when it's originated. So why to have like some technical media in Kyrgyzstan or in Ukraine, like so it can't be like first-class citizen. Like this model, like I think it works in Russia, because in Russia they can have like some software developer who doesn't speak English, and it's nonsense for our countries. And every time we like have some experiments with translations of articles from some other media, it doesn't work. People say, "Oh, you have a bad translation. Why don't post a link on original?" And that's true. So it's so answering your question, like it's to write good stories, you have to be like good journalist, and it's like the main skill. And if you can understand like some topic deeply, it's also great. But if you can't gather information, you can't write well, nothing will help. Yeah, like this story with a bird about Einstein, who published his books, and the publisher said to him that every formula you use cut the audience 2 times. And he so in the book there was only one formula, E is equal MC squared.
Thank you very much. Yeah, you answered quite well, and I'll keep these points in mind when if I decided to open my tech media. And I want to ask you a second question directly. You say that there are a lot of different types of IT journalism, and it's not like one thing, one topic for IT journalists. Yeah, and I want to ask what aspect of IT sector are most interesting to white audience, in the sense that coding is maybe not so interested like investing or startups. From your point of view, which topic is the most interesting?
You know, the world is changing so rapidly. So it's difficult it's changing all the time. What's more interesting 2 years ago, it doesn't matter what kind of media you are, you have only one topic, coronavirus. So it changed everything. So you should find what aspects I think I agree with Vera. If we're talking about audience of people who work in IT, who work in tech, that it's some local news and global news in local context, if I may say so. People wants to know what directly affects their life. So I think some for the region, I think it's maybe totally bulletproof points, and there are a lot of things. It also depends what's your mission, what's the goal of your media, what's you're trying to. Sometimes it's trade-off. Would you like to be popular, or would you like to be deep, or something like that? So it's or you made your decisions based on some algorithms, or you have your distribution in mind, or you have some old school editor's decision, we will publish what is important, and so on. So there is no some recipe that is universal and will work everywhere at every time. What's actual now, I don't know. Would it be actual not even in next year, but maybe next week? It's really crazy time, unfortunately.
Okay, I know. Thank you very much. And let me ask the speaker to Vera, to our other speaker question. Vera, IT media, based on specific of their work, are in constant contact with IT companies, with IT sector, yeah? And I think you communicate very often with media departments of IT companies, read their press releases, and even create joint information projects. And that's why my question is, what challenges face the media communicating with the representatives of IT industry? You're welcome.
I don't see any challenges. I'm sorry, I don't know how to answer this question. There are no challenges. You just
really
no. What can be the challenges? They are like people. We are people. They have their own interests. We have our own interests. We meet. We know what they want. They know what we want. We meet and win-win. We have like it's like all about building a relationship with the market. And I don't think that IT industry is somehow different from any other industry. I would say it's even better because usually in IT industry, people who work are very like friendly, smart, and it's easy. It's much easier to get along with them. For example, if we work with some governmental institutions. So I don't see any challenges, and I don't know how to answer your question. Sorry, I'm sorry.
Okay, no, maybe Artiom and Tagai have something to add. Maybe you have another point of view about this. Please, Tagai, how you build your communication with IT companies in Kyrgyzstan? Is there any challenges in this?
Okay. I absolutely agree with Vera, because maybe in the beginning when the IT community was very small, it was very hard to talk to them. You have to be their friend. But now when it grew bigger, it's like just another work. You just work with them. You just call to them. You just meet with them, talk to them. And maybe it's not a challenge. It's just a regular work for people who is responsible for that. It's like maybe in sales, in GR, in PR. It's the regular work. I agree with Vera.
Tom, please, the floor is yours.
I'm afraid I can't fully agree because if you when you like do your like normal journalist work like according to standards, when you're like usually it's a good stories, but some it can be like not so good stories for the companies, and sometimes it's difficult to explain that you are not like the PR department of some IT company, because unfortunately, like not every IT company understands how to communicate with press, and you have to be critical sometimes. And how to deal with, like, if you are critical to our company, we won't buy like ads on your website. It can be challenging. It's really it can be challenging, and but I think it's getting better, because like more and more companies understand how it works and how to deal with press, and that's just like buying some advertisement on website doesn't mean it will you buy journalists. But I think it's not. I agree that it's not like specific for IT companies. I think in other spheres there are same problems.
Thank you very much. And my next question will be about journalists, about your teams. How you complete your teams? Do you retrain to write about IT journalists from I don't know, traditional media, or how you collect your team of IT journalists, and who are these people who write about this marvelous tech world? Please, who wants to start?
I want to start because I agreed with you before to talk about this topic. You remember?
Yeah, but so I ask a little bit another way. a lot of traditional media create specific tech topics, yeah, tech, I don't know, but you decided to create, and as I know, people there write about investigation, about cryptocurrency, and sometimes they write about something new in IT sector. Sometimes they write about ecology and so on. So they are multitask. Maybe my view not so clear, but as I know, they are generally multitask. But as I understand, your journalists write just about tech world, yeah, a lot of different aspects, but in general they are specialized on one sphere. And my question: how to train people to be expert in one sphere, yeah, in this very complex sphere?
Okay, can I talk?
Yes, sure.
Thank you very much. Okay, so basically now I have a team of 40 people. Around 2/3 of them are journalists. The rest are like salespeople, marketing, like technical people and stuff. I can say that it's and yeah, for your understanding, I have 3 media. As Artiom said, IT journalism is not something like bland and all IT is the same. Basically, we cover all these facets of IT that Artiom mentioned. We talk about technology and like from scientific or fun point of view on ITC. We talk about IT business on MC, and we talk about issues important to coders, to programmers on Highload. So it's both technical content and more like lifestyle content, like life of developer, what's important to developers. What's most important is when the salaries will get even more higher. I mean, when will it be not like $10,000, but like $20,000 and then $30,000 for developer. Anyway, so and what's interesting is that for us it's considerably easy to find people to work for ITC and for Highload, which was quite a surprise for me because MC was my first media, and I got used to some challenges in hiring journalists to my media because ITC talks about technology, and there are lots of like guys and girls who have a hobby of technology. So, for example, our news editor, she loves cars, she loves, I don't know, some tech, she loves science. And when we had a job interview, she was working before in some social political media, and she was telling how bored she was and how she hates politics. And now she's absolutely happy because she can write about things that she enjoys. And that's basically our main thing that we look at when we hire a person, is that he or she is interested in topics he has to cover, because otherwise I don't believe that it will work. So he should be, like it should be like fun for him to do this. And the same thing when we were launching Highload, I thought that it will be really hard to find a team, because we understood we had to have a team that had technical programmer background to make a media for programmers. But to my surprise, so for example, we have currently a tech editor who used to work as developer for 10 years. Then he got tired of being a developer and he loved to write. And now he's absolutely happy. He says that it's like his dream job. He writes and edits technical articles. And it wasn't, like when we published the opening, he just responded to it. So, and all the same, and also, for example, we have a girl who was studying to be a developer. She's young, but while she was studying, she understood she doesn't want to code, but she loves to write. And somehow we found her, and she's happily working in our team and making good stories. But when we have to cover IT business, it's very hard to find people because, unfortunately, journalists are not interested in IT business. It's very hard to find somebody who just reads about IT business for fun, like from the journalist circle. Of course, there are lots of people who read about IT business for fun, working in IT business, but usually for journalists, it's not. I connected with two things. I connected with post-Soviet mentality when business was something bad, and it's not cool, because business is like angry capitalists who take money from poor people, blah, blah, blah. And also IT is very complicated. So if it's kind of still possible to find the person who wants to talk about some simple entrepreneur stories, like opening a cafe, it's not hard to understand how to open a cafe, but how to make some AI, machine learning, IT business thing, and to understand how it works and its business model and stuff, you really have to have very big background skills. So that's basically my problem, because usually people don't understand IT business, journalists, and they are not interested in it. Journalists are interested in writing about, some poor people stories, some, Donbass, Donetsk, Crimea, Poroshenko, Trump, Biden, etc., and they think they create much more value than when they write about IT business, which I don't really agree, because you inspire with your stories people to create something new, something cool, something fun. You help economy develop, help make new workplaces, bring more money to economy, etc., etc. But there is no such logical connection in journalists' heads, like in Ukraine, on the total. So, as I said, business is something that's not good for society. What's good for society is, telling a story of some poor person who doesn't have money and lives on the street. This is fun and easy. It's easy to write such a story and to bring drama. To make a drama out of IT startup story is much harder to know how to make this drama. So I think also it happens because there are lots of programs, international ones, foundations who have programs for journalists, who teach journalists to do their journalistic things, like open NGOs, open schools and stuff. And it's all about social political agenda. So it's about, I forgot this word in English, finding what money did the politicians stole and stuff. And nobody teaches people about writing about business or about IT business. And what actually wanted to discuss and to hear your maybe opinion also, Stanislav, is it possible that somehow these international organizations like USAID, for example, who invest in journalistic education, will launch some projects to teach IT journalists? Because I was thinking about it many times, that we need to start a school, we need to share knowledge and stuff, but we are, a commercial organization. We are kind of small, so yeah, 40 people may sound a lot, but for three big media, it's not a lot, and we are very efficient, and we are basically concentrated on the day-to-day job, what we do, and still we somehow close our openings when we search for journalists. But if somebody from NGOs would initiate some school like this, we would happily invest our time, knowledge, to share it, to raise the next generation of IT journalists. Because in Ukraine, the other problem is there is no journalistic school for IT. So all the editorial teams are around, 7 people, 8 people. I started my way in journalism from UMH Group. It was a huge media organization with 4,000 journalists working under one roof. I was working, for example, in Forbes team. Forbes had, I don't know, 60 journalists, and it was like a big school. And then Forbes at that moment stopped. All of these people spread to the market and shared their knowledge. But now, so people who write about IT, they are all IT media in Ukraine are small, and they are like good teams. So people just sit there, they don't want to switch. And basically, when you need new blood, there is nowhere to take it from. So the question is, and to the colleagues also, what do you think making such a school for IT journalism, is it a good idea, and how to do it?
Thank you very much for answer and also for question. It's really very good point about IT journalism school and about supporting for this school in international development agencies and foundations. I think it can be real cool project, and we definitely will discuss it in our NGO also, this concept of this project, and if we will have any opportunity to implement this project, I will definitely connect you. And I want to ask Artiom, how you build your team. As I understand from Vera's answer, it's really not enough fresh blood on the market of IT journalism. And do you train journalists or retrain from other media journalists? And from where appeared this IT journalist in dev.media?
Like before answer, I have like one small comment about like Vera's idea about like a school of IT journalism. There were like some projects like that, and like made like by some NGOs. Like for example, in Belarus, I remember like 2 or 3, and it was made with IT companies, and they, unfortunately, I can't say that they were successful. So like before like starting these projects, like I said, that it's really important to try and to figure out why. Why it like it doesn't work like in a straight way, because like it looks easy, like find some motivated people, like share a skill with them, and you will get like fresh blood. Like for some reason it doesn't work, and I think it's not like because people are not always curious, but because we like we compete like for professionals, not like with each other, with other media. We compete like with tech companies, tech corporation, and it's like this IT sector is like a vacuum cleaner who trying to.
But actually, I don't think, like, I know the salaries that people get in the IT sector just being writers, you know, and we pay the same money.
I'm not talking about the writers. I'm talking about like if you like want to find like some talented editor, he also can make like some career in communications and PR in some EPAM or something like that, and like.
But it's more, you know, I was working for some time as a PR person, and I hated it. So it's like journalism is still about the calling, you know. So.
That's like also argument I use. It's a shitty work. Like don't do that. Like working in PR, it's not a dream job. Like definitely, but still it's difficult. And
So your point is that you think that some people who could become good editors went to work for PR departments in IT companies.
Yes. And for some startup, like we have like 100,000 of startup, and every startup which has like financing needs some PR manager. So it's.
But why, in your point, why people switch? Is it only money, or are there some other reasons?
I think it's personal, you know, of course, like money. Maybe they can have like some. If it's startup, they're willing to get like some bonuses, get some. Maybe like the think this career like is more perspective. I don't know, like we like a few years ago we lost our editor-in-chief, and she went to some venture company, Bulba Ventures, and it was something that we can't compete
in terms of money.
They painted like quite beautiful picture of the future, that he will get like some options, that we will sell the startup and you get this, and you get this, you international level, blah blah blah. So part of this is,
you know, I like, in my opinion, maybe in Belarus is different because still Ukrainians in Belarus are a different market. But in my opinion, I don't see, you know, IT companies as a threat. So I don't have this problem of, you know, for example, like knock on wood, my journalists work with me to go to work for IT companies, because it's like still journalism and PR are different kind of things, and it's fun to be a journalist. You know, it's like journalism. It's more about, for me, it's, as I said, it's more about that people are not, like journalists are not interested. They find this thing like people who could write. There is not enough education and understanding what the IT journalism is. And some new people who could write about it, they just find it very hard, because when we have to, I don't know, like find just a writer, so it's okay. We can take some like young person who has a good brain. We see some interest. He can write something, and we had good editors, and they train him and they raise him, and in half a year he is kind of decent journalist. But when I have a problem to hire an editor who has already to be in the market, to understand, to be to make good content, this is when the fun begins.
yeah, I understand your pain. Just like my point is that it's not impossible, but it's not on like an easy path. It can be, and it will be like challenging, and there is no like quick path to success. Just like it's to hire a great person and to transfer the skills to educate. As you said, like I can't agree more.
Okay.
And Tagai, please join also discussion and tell us about your experience, how you make your team, and do you maybe have some courses in Limon Media to train new journalists, and how do you think it will be very or not so successful project in Bishkek, in Kyrgyzstan, if we start our IT journalist school, for example, in Bishkek? It will be a successful project or not?
First of all, its pronunciation is Limon Media, Limon. We didn't change it. It was specialist in such way. The second, as to the question, we look at it as a startup team. You know, we just look at our activity like we are making media startup. So it is on this stage, it is for us more valuable to create great culture in the team. We don't hire a lot of people. We just try to make great product and to make them feel happy doing our mission, you know. So it is the first one. That is why it is quite hard to us to find right people. And we meet all the problems that were told by Vera and Artiom. All the problems. We compete with other large companies from other sectors. So, for example, in business media, if somebody knows how to write good stories in business, it's more preferable for him to become a businessman, you know, and not to write about it. So from one hand, from the other hand, it's like something. Some people like they want to be a journalist. They want to be like maybe they want fame or they want power, and that is why they go to the journalism. So from my experience, I work in IT press, the leading media. I always was telling to the team, you are not journalists, you are content makers. You're making product, not journalistic. It's not journalistic work. So we've made a great team. It is very big now. We have in about more than 100 people in headquarters and 150 people all over the country. We have seven regions. And in the beginning, it was the same problem. You know, it was first of all, you must make people wanting to be a journalist, because when people preferably we wanted to grow people, not to hire from the from side, because when you grow a person, he or she has the same values as you, so it is much easier to work with it. That is why, so like legacy in Limon media, we are trying to make the same. So I don't have another experience of big news corporation when you just hire a good experienced person like editor or like maybe head of department. It is the answer for the first question. Like we just hire young people, grow them. How do we grow them? We have a list of books that must read books. When a person, and we, for example, we make a list of must read books for the year, and we discuss every book every 3 or 4 weeks. So we have a person who leading this project, and every new people, when there is a bunch of them, 3 or 4 young people, they go the same way. So then our respondents teach us. They say us, this is we ask them. We talk to our users, you know. And as to the last question, will be it useful to make a IT journalist courses in Bishkek? You know, I think it will not be harm, at least. but it is there are many journalistic courses in our country made by USAID and other NGOs, and people like them. Journalists like them, but it doesn't decide the core problem. You know, the very core problem is that this activity is not the activity people want or people see them to be successful in it. You know, for example, when we're looking for programmer, software developer, there are a lot of people. We have a lot of people who want to work with us. But when we were looking, there are no content creators, or maybe a couple or something. And connection problems, yeah.
No, it's okay. Yes, thank you for your answer. It was very real clear, and I think we should finish our productive discussion on these points because time is over. And I would like to thank you all of participants of our event, and thank you for not just participating but also to providing people with high quality information product about IT. Keep do it, and we as StrategEast will support by implementing such projects, our discussion project, and maybe as Vera give us such idea, maybe it will be even more than just panel, maybe IT school for IT journalists. It will be really great project, which was born today on our discussion. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Thank you.
Have a nice day.
Bye. Bye.